Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today, or tonight, actually. It's going to be a very fun, informative webinar, Invest Abroad. Today, we are joined here with Elana and Mac, as you know, if you've been to the other webinar we had. Elana works for, well, she's part of Other Home. She's gonna get in depth with the project. And Mac, he's the mortgage guru. And yeah, so that's what we have here. Sean, want to take it away, dude?
Yeah, so the project we're going to talk about is just pretty much just investing abroad. As we're aware, it's very expensive here in Ontario or in Canada in general. So we're just providing alternative options where you can, park your money and be a home owner, for a fraction of the cost. On top of that, allowing you to have fractional or partner or partial ownership in a unit, right? So you're not putting down X amount of dollars. You're sharing. You're doing a joint venture with a few other people to own that unit.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. Are you guys done?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay,
and Alana, she's the head of the snake. What she will be doing is she'll be just doing a deeper dive and explaining the program, explaining how everything works, and a more high level process and how to purchase.
Yeah, she'll be introducing the amazing project that she's working with, collaborating. Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks guys, really appreciate the opportunity and thank you everybody for your time today. Just to give you a little bit of a program, I'm going to go a little bit over what Other Home does. I am the founder and CEO of Other Home. We do whole ownership for our projects, but we also specialize in partial ownership options that don't involve a mortgage and very low capital, so it can get you very high returns and deeded property title. It is not a timeshare, and I will go more in depth in my presentation on to why that is. So I will share my screen and get started on that, and then we'll cover the project information. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm just going to go to full screen mode here. All righty. So we're basically just going to go into some statistical information and then explain to you why there's no place like Other Home. So the vacation home industry is massive. As you can see here, it's like a 118, almost $118 billion industry in 2023, and it's expected to grow from 2023 to 2032, approximately 14%. And right now, there are nearly 10 million second homes in the US that sit majority empty 10 to 11 months of the year. And I would say it was 25% of Canadian vacation homes, 20% of Canadians own vacation homes of total sales. So that would basically work out to a similar number that would be sitting vacant 10 to 11 months of the year. And typical vacation home ownership challenges, they're obviously far too expensive, with the market exploding and properties here getting more expensive. People just have less disposable income to play around with to invest in an expensive vacation product. They're also very difficult to manage and maintain, especially if they're over an hour away. Securing, packing up, etc., becomes very challenging. And as mentioned, they sit vacant and unused majority of the time. So Canadians receive an average of 10 vacation days per year. And even if they use 8 weekends in addition to that, that's only 1 month of use in the entire year, meaning the home is still sitting vacant 92% of the time. So how we overcome these challenges is we make vacation home ownership affordable, with owners retaining 100% ownership of the property. So by offering partial ownership options, purchasers pay less to own a piece rather than carrying the entire cost, and they're only purchasing essentially what they would use. We make the maintenance easier, so we do all the asset management, we inspect it, ensuring the property is in top condition, and additionally, all the expenses are cheaper since they're shared and divided among owners, and we'll also do all the bill payments. And we optimize and potentially monetize vacancies. So rather than the home sitting vacant majority of the time, the home is actually being used. Owners are only paying for what they use, or they're earning revenue through rentals. So nutshell for buyers is we offer the opportunity to purchase pieces of vacation homes from 1/8 to the whole thing. An eighth gets you 6 weeks per year. But if you wanted to purchase more than 1/8, if you wanted more weeks, more usage, then we can absolutely accommodate that. So it's a max of up to 8 owners, but it could be less depending on how many shares one owner purchases. Sorry. And yes, other home is not timeshare. So this is the slide I was telling you about in the intro. So a lot of people don't fully understand what timeshare is, so we felt it was necessary to basically break it down. As you can see here on the right, that users buy blocks of time, typically with a timeshare. You don't have any actual ownership of the property, so it's illiquid. And users typically only receive 1 to 2 weeks of usage per year. Timeshare obviously has a bad reputation with high markups, which make resale almost impossible. And it is typically the same weeks reserved every year. So the difference between other home is owners have 100% ownership with names on title. Each owner receives 6 to 48 weeks of usage per year. Actual ownership means easier resale potential and that it's actually a liquid asset now. And our proprietary calendar, the usage rotates, which offers fair usage for all owners, including peak weeks, non-peak weeks, and holidays. The way we've structured it is every single owner gets a fair share of each. And this is just basically a typical breakdown of how our calendar works. So if you're an 8th owner, you get 6 weeks of annual usage, which works out to 1 week within every 8-week block. 2/8 owner gets 12 weeks, which works out to 2 weeks within every 8-week block, and so on and so on. Other home does retain 4 weeks per year. 2 is basically for our usage. That's how we're able to keep our monthly asset management fees very low. We just find it's better for owners and gets some higher returns. And then 2 weeks annually for maintenance, which is industry standard across the globe, just to do any repairs and things like that. So yeah, we just basically already covered this. I'll just hit it home again. We make the maintenance easier, so we'll do all the bill payments. We streamline everything through our proprietary technology, which is through an app. We have a mobile app and a web-based app that's super easy to use, and you can manage all of your usage, your maintenance requests, property summaries, billing summaries, everything that you need to basically streamline the entire management of your property while we take care of all the heavy lifting. And this just, yeah, sorry, somebody have a question? No? Okay. Feel free to stop me if you have questions at any time. So we'll also manage the rental income. Basically, that's included in our fee. We'll do all the short-term rental marketing and accounting and all that stuff for you guys. And this is just a little case study on the type of returns that a short-term rental can give you. So this is actually a live case study on the project that we're going to be featuring today and presenting to you today, Joya and Tulum. Just to give you guys kind of an idea of the income that you would earn on an 8th share. So let's say 8 purchasers chip in to buy a stunning garden suite with a plunge pool at Joya Tulum, and each share is around $23,000 US. Each owner can earn income by short-term renting their unused weeks. This property fetches an average of $770 a week throughout the year. That's based on current rental rates. I think once it's completed, it's going to be higher, but we like keeping all of our numbers quite conservative. So let's just say each owner has an average of 2 vacation weeks a year. They use 1 week at Joya. Then they will still have 5 weeks of unused time per year. So 4 of the 5 weeks actually rent out, then this is typically what you would look at as far as a net ROI. So let's say 4 weeks at an average of $770 a week. Again, this is in US dollars. Times 4, you're looking at a gross income of just over $3,000. Your operating costs are around $1,180. So your net rental income just on the first year would be $1,900 US, and the short-term rental values in this particular area are looking and projected to increase an estimated 16 to 40% per year over the next 5 years. And that, keep in mind, just to be clear, is just in rental income. And in Tulum, specifically, property values are estimated to increase approximately 10 to 15% per year in addition to the rental income. So this means owners are looking at a total estimated 25% net return in only year one, with an annual estimated increase of 25 to 30%. And keep in mind, this would basically be all in, this 23,000 American, because our special incentive is we have the furniture packages included. The only thing additional would be your closing costs, but I did account for vacancy rates and closing costs and the operating cost numbers. So just keep that in mind. They're fairly accurate, even though they're estimated.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Quick question. Tatiana Newland had a question. She wanted to ask, what is roughly the closing cost in Tulum or Mexico in general?
Yep. So Mexico is a part of North America, so a lot of the practices are pretty standard throughout. It's basically around 8%. It could be between 6 to 8%, depends on the lawyer, of the purchase price. And it's the same like if you were to purchase in the US or anything like that. So I think that's a pretty fair percentage.
Okay. Could I ask another personal question as well, just to keep it interactive, you know?
Yeah. Go for it. I like being in the hot seat, Sean.
So if you purchase 1/8 of the unit, all right, can you rent out, because you're allocated 6 weeks out of the year, can you rent out all the 6 weeks? Can you vacation all those 6 weeks? How does that work?
Yeah, so those 6 weeks, those are your weeks to do whatever you want with. You can use them all, you can rent them all, you could do a mix and match. Like I have personally purchased a share in this particular unit myself, and I plan on using it 1 week a year and then renting it out the rest of the time. But I mean, I've gone there every year for the last 11 years, so that's just me. But ultimately, they're your weeks to do what you want with.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And I won't go too far into this, but it is an added feature. So we are an official affiliate partner of Third Home. They're an American exchange company that allows our owners to exchange unused time and weeks at their vacation property for time at another property, resort, yacht, or adventure around the globe. So they have over 16,000 properties in over 100 countries. They work with all the major hotel partners, the Ritz, One Hotel, Four Seasons, you name it, they got dozens. So their metrics, it works out to an average savings of 97% on accommodations. Just to give you an idea, like you could get a villa in Italy that would typically cost you $15,000 a week for like $1,200. Their average weekly fee is like usually around $950. But it just provides a lifestyle benefit. And then when you sign up through us and our affiliate partnership, you'll actually get your initiation fee waived. It works out to about 3,000 Canadian, and you'll get some bonus weeks to basically get a free week of travel for signing up, which you would not get through signing up with them directly. So it's not something an owner has to use. It's just an added value service if you did want to use it.
Can you, sorry again.
No, it's okay. Go ahead. I'm done on that presentation. I was just going to swap you away.
Okay, with Tulum itself, can you fly directly into Tulum, or do you have to go through another county or city to get there?
Yeah, you can absolutely. Well, right now you have to fly into Cancun, so that's about an hour and a half of commute time from Cancun. But they are starting direct flights from the brand Tulum International Airport, I believe next week. And it's starting with primarily Europe and American flights, but the Canadian flights are already starting to pick up. I think Air Canada is going to be the first one. So that brand new airport, right now, Tulum has annual visitors of around 1.5 million people. Just that airport is going to bring an additional 6 million people per year in tourism. And then they also have the new Mayan train that just opened, and that's going to bring an additional 3 million people. So their tourism is going to go from 1.5 million people a year to approximately 8 to 10 million people per year, which is quite significant. Just to put it into perspective for you, the entire island of Dominican only gets 10 million a year at best. So the fact that they're going to get that much in such a small region, I think speaks volumes.
And if
Sorry.
anyone else had any other questions as well, feel free to interject. We want to keep this as interactive as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no dumb or
I
stupid
think
questions.
there was a question that I saw.
Yeah, go for it.
It says what happens if you want out in the future? What's the process like? So I guess like if you want to sell your share.
Yeah, great question. So we kept that process as simple as possible. You just have to hold your share for at least 1 year. After that, you decide to sell it. We will do a current market assessment on the value of the property to determine, obviously, the current market value of your share. The other owners of the property will get their first chance to purchase that share if they'd like, and it's called first right of refusal. And then my company would get second right of refusal. And if at that point we can't do a sale internally on your share, you can essentially just sell it on the open market, either privately or through a real estate agent. Fractional ownership has been around for 30 years. So there are a lot of people in this space, especially in the vacation space, that are familiar with it and used to it. We just essentially took the legal process and made it easier and streamlined it. Just to make it simpler for everybody. And we do all the heavy lifting to carefully vet all of our projects. So all of our projects are Canadian and American developers that own the land to avoid closing issues, quality issues, things like that. So just because there is so much development there, it's a very saturated market. It's very important that you have an expert that understands those areas in order to do all that vetting for you. Looks like
we have 2 other questions.
Yeah, I'm seeing.
Thank you for that, by the way, as well. Can you use the 6 weeks consecutively?
No, so based on our calendar, because we had to give everybody an equal amount of peak weeks, non-peak weeks, and holidays, we basically do them in 1 week blocks. However, we do allow owners to swap weeks between each other if they wanted to stay for 2 consecutive weeks. But I believe if you purchase 3 shares, the way our calendar works, it would give you back-to-back weeks. I would have to go in and take a deeper dive at our calendar, because I know once you purchase a certain amount of shares, you actually can go for consecutive weeks. I just can't remember exactly what that number is. Yeah, and she said, please share some pictures. We're going to go into that shortly.
We'll go into that as well. And as far as the location, are you going to that as well? Can you break down like where it's located in Tulum? So I know
Absolutely.
It's a very small.
Yeah, for sure. I have a map in the presentation, and I can pull that down. So I'm very familiar with the area. Are there any annual fees? Sorry, with like taxes and stuff? Yeah. So all the operating costs I included in that case study include all those fees, but the operating costs are very low down there. Everything is cheaper. I mean, utilities are cheaper, taxes are cheaper, insurance is cheaper. Like your property tax on the entire property, if you were to purchase home ownership, is like $100 a year. So broken down by share, it's like $14 American a year. So I would say for this particular unit, I mean, operating costs, without, or I guess with utilities and everything, you're looking at, I would say, approximately 150 to 200 bucks a month American, which isn't bad. Sorry, I'm just going to. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
And
also, I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to mention at the beginning, we have Mac Phillips on online as well. He deals with the financing. So if you guys have any, he's going to go into his spiel. But if you guys have any, financing questions, he's the guy to answer all of your inquiries,
Absolutely.
especially like purchasing abroad.
Yeah, he's coming. He's gonna chat about it right
Yeah,
after.
for sure. So stay tuned
Yeah.
to the end for that. So yeah, just to be clear, I just wanted to double check the numbers for you guys because I like being accurate. If you include, all of your expenses, including utilities, taxes, insurance, yeah, you're looking at about 150 American a month per share in carrying costs. So very, very manageable. But the fact that you can have a cash flowing property that even turns you a profit in the first year is amazing. So it basically pays for itself. Plus, you're going to have per share, I would say approximately 250 to $300 Canadian in your pocket every single month. And it's going to obviously grow over time. I mean, year two, the rentals are looking to go up 16 to 17%. So you'll be making additional income at that point in addition to your property appreciation.
I have a I
Yeah.
have another question.
Yeah, go for it.
If you purchase 1/8, right, of the unit, who are the other 7 individuals that own that unit with you?
Yeah, great question. So some people they have their own groups that they put together of friends or family or colleagues that they're comfortable with, and we can accommodate that as well. If not, they're just buyers that we've already pre-qualified in our pool. I mean, there's no mortgages for the co-ownership, so everything is paid outright. And then, we have a co-ownership agreement for all the usage rights, so everybody's protected, and you don't need other owners' permission to resell your share or anything like that. Everything is pretty seamless. Like majority of the buyers that we've been getting now actually are realtors and wealth managers. Most of our buyers are wealth managers. So I mean, I think that speaks volumes in itself. So yeah, that's primarily the buyer that we're getting, mostly first-time home buyers that have been priced out of the market, and investors that want low risk, diversified portfolio with high returns.
Thank you.
No problem. So this is Joya Luxury Condos is essentially a Canadian developer and builder, people that I know quite well. So we were able to get specially incentivized pricing and deposit structures in order to accommodate, our friends and family pricing. With the pricing that we currently have, and based on what they're going to be selling at when they open to the public, you're already right off the hop going to be making a net return of 40% year one, if you include the property appreciation, because the prices essentially are going to be going up 30%, and then the furniture packages are going to be extra. Sorry, I see a chat. Can it be less than 8 people if people put in more? Yep, and absolutely. If somebody wants more weeks, more usage, more ownership, we can absolutely accommodate them purchasing multiple shares. Like we will likely have scenarios where it would be 5 people on title because maybe one person will own 2 or 3 shares. So we're pretty flexible when it comes to that stuff. Absolutely. So this is the building here. You can see you have a rooftop pool. It's in a really, really great neighborhood where all the sidewalks and services are already installed. It's going to be a boutique condo development, very thoughtfully designed. They're very detail oriented. It's going to be a total of 32 units over 4 stories, and it's located in the absolute best neighborhood of Tulum, which is Aldea Zama. So this is a perfect map here. Here's Joya. This whole pocket here is Aldea Zama. You can see here you have a lot of stuff that's walking distance, restaurants, grocery stores, coffee shops, excursion vendors, pretty much everything you can name it. It's pretty well developed. After this Zoom, if anybody's interested, reach out to Sean or Batter, and we have an email that we put together just with some project highlights and some personal videos that I took of the site and of the neighborhood if you want a more, I guess, live perspective. So this is actually all jungle here. There's going to be some development here, but they're very eco-conscious, so there's not going to be too much development in this area over time. Most of it will be in these regions over here. So you can see here, this is the Tulum downtown, Joya and Aldea Zama. They even have their own cenote on site, which is like an ancient water well that's really known in the Mayan regions. They're thousands of years old, 4,000 years old, majority of them. So very rich cultural history. This is the main avenue here, Avenue Coba, where everybody takes to get to the Tulum Hotel Zone. So this is obviously the beach strip here. You have lots of shops, beach clubs. Playa Paraiso is one of the top beaches in the world. So this distance here is about 4 minutes. This is also about 3 to 4 minutes. And then these neighborhoods here are also going to be developing. You have the Tulum Airport a little farther over here on the map to the left here. And then you're also, you have a venue space in the jungle where they throw like some of the best music festivals in the world. It's quite interesting how it's for a very, very diverse group. I think that's why their short-term rentals are so good, because they can accommodate business people, they can accommodate families, they can accommodate, singles that just want to have a good time. And you can still be in the thick of everything, but it's still quiet. Like I had gone in January, and I stayed 3 blocks from Joya. They had one of the biggest music festivals they have of the year, and I didn't even hear anything. It was pretty quiet. So here's the national park, where they have a new museum that's going in, and they also have the Tulum ruins that are about 4,000 years old. Keep in mind, even with the beach clubs, they still have public beach access. The train Maya is going to be going through here as well, all the way to Cancun and up the region. The Mexican government and the entire Mayan Riviera has put about $500 billion into this region over the last 5 years. So just because they obviously see the potential in it, and they're going to be putting in a new luxury mall over here as well. And one of the biggest things that's going to be completed in the next 2 years is they are putting in a world-renowned F1 racetrack that's going to be maybe about 20 minutes this way, close to the PGA golf course. So 20 minutes from our project, they have a PGA certified golf course. It's one of TripAdvisor's top 10 golf courses in the world. And for 2024, Tulum also won the best beach destination in Central America and Mexico for 2023, and they're also a nominee for 2024. I believe the votes are going to be completed in April or May. And the F1 racetrack, they're investing $3 billion. It's planned to be bigger and more impressive than the one in Dubai. So that giant mix of development that's happening there is just the perfect storm for high rental returns and high appreciation if you buy in now. So yeah, I already kind of basically covered a lot of this. This is the Tulum ruins here. You can see they're at that national park. It's also a world-leading scuba diving destination. So it's a pretty breathtaking destination in the Mayan Riviera, which is the Mexican Caribbean, some of the best beaches in the world. They have great food, lush green jungle, pristine beaches. They're also very environmentally friendly. All of the homes and projects that are built have to be made with sustainable materials. You can go for a relaxed trip, like I said, a party trip, golf trip, business trip. It's great for everything. Snorkeling. They have lots of adventure, very rich in cultural history and art and trendy restaurants and things like that. Feel free to follow our Instagram. Our tag is at otherhome.ca, and we post daily stories that do a little bit more of a deep dive into the Tulum experience. So this is just a rendering of the outside. Studios typically do really, really well there for rentals. I would say compared to a 2-bedroom, the property appreciation would be the same, but the short-term rental incomes, you're going to be looking at an extra 3 to 4%. Sorry, I'm just going to answer some questions here. This is amazing. Prime location. It's stunning there. Yeah, absolutely stunning. I've traveled all over the world and been to every country in the Caribbean, and this is the only place I've gone back, more than twice. I've been there 11 times, and I have a lot of international real estate experience. I've been a broker for 20 years. So, that says enough in itself. And, I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is, which is why I purchased in this project myself as well. So these are just some of the floor plans. This is going to be the main entrance here. So this is just a typical studio. This unit for whole ownership starts at 130,000 US, again, including the furniture. So all of the studios have the same interior and square footage. The only thing that changes is the balcony. All of them are going to have king size beds. This is going to be a sofa, queen size. You have a kitchen area with fridge and stove here, office area. This is a closet with washer and dryer. And you also have the washroom here. And then you just have a standard balcony that's about 65 square feet. This is a rendering of the 2-bedroom. I'm not sure why they put that there, but so all the studios on the ground level have their own private pool. And this one is called the swim up pool. This one's really, really great for kids because it's not just a plunge pool. It's a much larger full-on swim pool. So interior is the same, again, king size, queen size sofa bed, washer dryer, all the kitchen, all the good stuff. And then you have the swim up here. This is just a rendering of what it will look like. Gas stove, sink. And this is the one I actually purchased in. So this has the largest terrace. It has a plunge pool with its own personal garden area. And again, the same interior.
It's beautiful.
I've stayed in this area. It's 10-minute bike ride, 4-minute cab ride. Yeah. But once I think they put in more of the transit, then it's going to be even easier. And that's considered very good location because the whole spot I showed you on the map, that's jungle. There's like just nothing there. It's just pure jungle. So all the other areas are where people live, which is a lot further away, and the areas are not considered as ideal. They will be over time, but it's not as ideal as this location. Aldea Zama is just top of the top.
Yeah, we see Anna's message. She said that she stayed there. It's 10 minutes away from the beach.
Yeah, exactly. To bike riding, yeah, because a lot of people get around there. You can either do bikes. A lot of people use ATVs or Vespas. Like they actually get Vespas from Italy. It's like the legit Vespa. So they do things properly, and it's pretty Americanized. They have Domino's, they have Subway, they have 7-Eleven. There's 2 7-Elevens walking distance from this project in particular, and they're actually nicer than our 7-Elevens. We're getting shafted over here. So this is just a rendering here of the garden suite with the plunge pool. We do still have some shares available, 22,680 American. We have about 5 shares available in there. So yeah, if you're interested, let Batter and Sean know. And we sold 3 shares in the 2 bedrooms as well. So there's only 2 2-bedrooms. They're on the penthouse level with 1 studio penthouse. The rest are all just regular studios or the studios with their own private pool. But again, it's going to be all king size beds and queen size sofa pullouts. The lock off is pretty common there. So a lock off is essentially you have a shared corridor with 2 separate doors to each unit. If people are using both bedrooms, they have a door here as well, so they can have a combined unit, but you can lock this door off and just basically rent out this space and this space separately. It's essentially just like a hotel room. So yeah, that's a pretty popular concept down there. And again, washer, dryer, and everything. I'll show you, I'll do a high level overview of the furniture packages as well, so you can see what's included. And that's a rendering of the 2-bedroom as well. And some of the amenities, so this is a rendering of the lobby. They're going to have a security checkpoint. They're going to have an infinity pool, sauna, gym, barbecue area, sunbeds, yoga, and an elevator. A lot of buildings there don't have an elevator or a sauna. Some of them don't even have a gym or a barbecue area. Most of them just have a rooftop and a pool. So that's really, really good for short-term rental returns to differentiate the property. And I mean, the vacancy rates there are pretty good already. Like our projections are based on a 70% occupancy rate, which is pretty average for there. And this is just a rendering of the rooftop with the communal pool, and the gym is there, and you have the barbecue area, sauna, gym. That's the swim up pool rendering there. And yeah, you can just see here's the master plan. So this is all the first floor. You have the elevator here. And then, you can see here, These are the plunge pools. These are the swim ups. And then you have 2 or 3 floors with this floor plan, which is just the studios and regular balconies. And you have the rooftop here with the sauna and all the other amenities, barbecue area, and the 2 2-bedroom penthouses and the penthouse studio. Oh, we have a chat. Is your builder considering developing in Jamaica or any other Caribbean islands? Yeah, potentially. Not right now, because it's a lot more affordable and the returns are a lot higher in Tulum. So they see that the opportunities there are much better and the operating costs are a lot lower. So as of right now, they're going to be sticking to this area, but potentially in the future. And it's a very reputable builder, actually. They do all the build outs for the Canadian Tire stores and offices. There's actually a lot of Canadian and American builders down there. Most of the buyers are even Canadian and American at all the projects we feature, like 80% are American and Canadian, and then you have a handful of Europeans. And the healthcare down there is excellent, blows us out of the water. I know by personal experience. So this is a nighttime rendering here. And as I stated, whole ownership prices are starting from 130 US, including furniture package. And for partial ownership, they're starting at 22,680, including furniture package. And again, here it's just an overview of why invest in Tulum. Booming real estate market, favorable investment climate that supports foreign investment, infrastructure development, so the new airport, the highways, the Tren Maya, also, you know, the golf courses, the F1 racetrack, and I mean, the list goes on, the museums and all the additional amenities, rich cultural heritage and natural beauty, and vastly growing tourism industry. So this is just an example of a furniture package, because down there we call it furniture fixtures and equipment because it includes everything. So this is basically for the 1-bedroom, I'm pretty sure. Yep, studio. So you can see here it would include, you know, all the lamps, all the rugs, side tables, beds, linens, mattresses, sofas. You can see here fridge, washer, dryer, TVs, small appliances, all your kitchen appliances and you know, utensils, towels, linens, you name it. Here's a little quick list. And I won't bore you with the 2-bedroom. It's basically the exact same, just obviously they doubled up on everything for the to accommodate a 2-bedroom, but everything else is the same. And this is basically the pricing you're looking at for a studio. That's an American. And then for the 2-bedroom, it's actually closer to 23,000. So part of our incentive is that is included in the price, as well as our price discount and our extended deposit structure. I have a question here. How about cleaning? Is that independent? Nope. So what we do is we actually broker the deal, and then my company takes the property under asset management. So we take care of all the bill payments. We take care of all the cleaning, all of the short-term rental marketing. We take care of 100% of the management of the property, and you can just log into our app and look at your billing summaries, your property summaries, your usage. You can even print, very simply print financial reports for your accountants. We have completely streamlined the process so we can take care of everything for you. Someone asked if there's damage or anything happens, does that work with the rest of the owners? So yes, Jan, it is turnkey and ready to go. You don't have to worry about nothing. So typically the beauty about short-term rentals is a number of different things. A, the returns are 4 to 5 times higher than a long-term tenant. B, all the funds are paid up front. C, they pay for the cleaning fee, and they also have insurance coverage through like Airbnb or Vrbo, whoever is their short-term rental vehicle. They typically already have insurance that you can file claims through if a tenant damages anything. But my company, in addition to that, does collect a small nominal fee off the monthly fee from all the owners per month, and we put it into a property specific reserve fund that we manage. So if down the road there are any major repairs, we don't have to come after the owners for one large bill. We just basically notify you and say, you know, this is the balance in the reserve fund, this is what we need for the repair, and this will be the balance left in the reserve fund after the repair, because We just didn't want people having, big surprises down the road, depending on their financial position at that time. So we just figured it's better to take small amounts every month to prepare for that. It's kind of similar to what a condo does. They take a certain portion and put it into a reserve fund. It just doesn't cover the interior of the condo. It covers obviously all the common areas and the exterior. Somebody asked, sorry if you covered this, how much can you expect to pay for the nominal fee every month? So the reserve fund fee is always 10% of whatever the monthly asset management fee is. So if your monthly asset management fee for a share is $150, it's like $15. We like to keep it pretty fair. And even our asset management fees that we take are like 30% lower than any other property management competitor because of how streamlined our business model is. So we wanted to be able to do that to give owners higher returns than anyone else can give them. Okay, I'll stop my share now. Does anybody have any other additional questions before I pass it off to Mac? Oh, great question, Elana. What is the expected possession date? So this project is anticipated to complete spring 2025. So they can basically get buildings up down there in 6 months to a year. It's not like Canada. They're already going to start building in June this year. All right. Mac, are you able to share your screen?
I should be able to.
Yeah, so for all of our whole ownership stuff, we are able to mortgage the whole ownership, not the partial ownership. So for all of our whole ownership, go through this guide.
Okie dokie. Let's see if I can share this. You might just need to access it down there on the share. You might just have to click the toggle to.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you do it now?
Yepper.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, beautiful. Well, firstly, Elana, that was outstanding. I think there's a lot of excited people on this call, and they certainly see the value in investing outside of the country. And I think just to set the stage around, why are folks looking to invest outside? I think right now, there's certainly a shortage of housing naturally in Canada. And along with that goes just the sheer rising cost to become a real estate investor locally. I think a lot of people are looking for opportunities for cash flow, maybe just a great way to get out of the country on a consistent basis and go to a place that they call their own versus feeling like a guest in a foreign hotel every time, and have some real consistency, whether you want to rent or you want to go and spend some time there. So for anybody who was on the call who was thinking, initially I saw some questions, can you spend 6 weeks? You absolutely can spend 6 weeks. And I think one of the most unique opportunities that we're seeing a lot of families, couples, or even best friends explore is with as little as the money that it would take to identify 2 shares, you can actually partner up together and purchase an entire whole property. And now you've got 6 months a year versus just the 6 weeks. So the way that you would be able to do that, and what's brand new, is actually opportunities to actually get mortgage financing in Mexico. You heard that correct. That's actually brand new for opportunities for Canadians to actually invest and actually purchase and hold a mortgage on an investment property down in Mexico. So where it really starts is understanding your numbers. So just so you're aware, as we did mention, it's just as little as 30% down. And the process starts exactly like any purchase here in Canada. If you're already a homeowner or an inspiring homeowner, you really can't make any decisions until you understand the numbers, you understand the carrying costs, and really dive into why it's important for you and your family. So what we're going to be doing is firstly setting up a call and going through what I call a custom proposal, which essentially is building out a financial roadmap. Everybody's needs are just a little bit different. The usage of the property is going to be different, and your ultimate goals and longevity in owning the property are going to vary from family to family or individual buyer to buyer. So that's why I really need to understand what's your driving force, what's your motivation, so we can pair it around the mortgage solution that's going to be best to fit your needs. One of the questions prior was, what if we want to sell it? So we want to be able to make sure that if that's your ultimate plan, if you have a more of a short-term rather horizon of being an investor, or if you're looking to hold something until retirement, I really need to understand what that plan is and build out that financial plan for you. So what we're looking to do is make sure that you understand not only the funds that are required for the closing, but also how you can access capital if you're already a homeowner. What we're finding the majority of families are doing is they're leveraging things like a line of credit, they're leveraging a second mortgage, or even any savings and investments that you have to be able to purchase a property outside of the country. So that 30% down is the minimum requirement. But of course, if you do have additional cash, we're seeing a lot of pre-construction properties selling with additional incentives around putting a larger down payment down. So what we're noticing a lot of families do that are looking to invest down in Mexico is the opportunity to build or the opportunity to buy. Certainly with Other Home, we're seeing a massive impact and interest around people flooding to projects just like Joya. But you also have the opportunity, if you were thinking, to build a home as well. So the way that would work is that you would actually be able to leverage equity if you do own a home in Canada, would be able to leverage the equity of the home you have right here on local soil. We would use that capital and that equity to actually purchase property and build your own custom beachfront property if that's what you prefer. The average home in Mexico that you would consider a palace under Canadian standards are anywhere between $350,000 and $500,000 US to build and to have your own custom home. But that may not be what you're looking for. You may be looking for either fractional ownership or even whole ownership in projects just like Joya, and we can absolutely assist you in maintaining those together.
Sorry to interrupt, Mac. I just want to throw in there that we do have boots on the ground, accountants, lawyers, realtors, property managers that we use. So, and they're very, very well connected. So if anybody is interested in purchasing land or another project down there, we can absolutely help you with that.
100%. Okay, so there was a lot of fantastic information presented around just why and what's happening in Tulum. So just as one example, we heard about the Jaguar Park, we heard about the train, we heard about the airport, and thinking around where is there a gold rush opportunity. So as Canadians, we're always looking particularly in our backyard, but right now the entire world is looking at Mexico and Tulum in particular. As she mentioned, they're looking at 10 million visitors on an annual basis, but there was a lot of hindrance and opportunities where folks like us simply could not invest and could not purchase properties down in Mexico, and for good reason. What the Mexican government were looking to do up until recently was essentially be very greedy, in my opinion, and actually hold on to all of that lakefront and beachfront properties for their own citizens. They didn't want foreigners coming down and taking all of the prime real estate, knowing that the massive interest would be able to overcome the local ability to acquire real estate. A lot like here in Canada. So what they found is that there's actually some legal opportunities where we've been able to form relationships with lawyers in Mexico and create essentially a legal opportunity that allows us to invest in those prime locations. So Joya being one of them, but the opportunity to actually acquire any real estate in the high tourism areas is now something that's possible. So what we do actually is we actually have the properties in many scenarios protected around the local legislation around a trust, and that trust allows you to be able to invest just like a local. What you're going to love about the process, if you've been a homeowner here in Canada or just curious on, how challenging is it to be able to purchase an asset outside of Canada, you would be pleased to know that the lender that we have and that we're working with is actually Canadian based. So you would be getting pre-approved and your mortgage financing would be done with me directly. The lender that you're working with is Canadian, presenting you with all of your numbers in Canadian currency. But if you do have other out of Canada investments, maybe you would prefer to have your finances reviewed in US dollars or even in Mexican pesos, we can do the conversions for you and make sure that you understand exactly the boots on the ground pricing. So what's beauty about it is that the lender actually has the same underwriting guidelines, same income qualifications, same benefits around the protection of working with a qualified lender, just like a major bank. You know, this is not Guido in his basement lending you funds privately. This is certainly a, reputable, long-standing company that allows you to invest in the United States and also allows you to invest in all of the prime real estate in Mexico. Okay. And the prime benefits, and I think we touched on just what's happening down in Mexico, is that that airport, I'm almost positive is either just opened, or as Elana mentioned, opening very soon. You can just imagine the opportunity for folks moving into Tulum area and allowing you to branch out from a spider effect from a more remote area versus having to fly into Cancun. A lot of the benefits around the mortgage financing is that we are going to present you with a full customized closing cost list. You're going to understand all of your numbers and understanding the full financial plan. And it's actually specific based on where you want to invest in Mexico. So we have, as Elana mentioned, lawyers, appraisers, and realtors who are ready to connect with you and ensure you have the best solutions, not only buying, but also when you're looking to sell that property as well. There is a massive resale market going on right now in Mexico for people who are looking to invest and actually purchase in the secondary market these shares. That was actually one of the first questions that I asked would be, how challenging, or, what's the process around selling my share? And you would be surprised the massive interest right now for people just like you who are looking to grab a great deal and purchase something that is vastly different than what they're seeing in the market today. So if any of that sounds exciting, if you want to, discuss your ability to borrow or even get what's called a mortgage pre-approval, I'd be happy to set up a call, either Zoom or otherwise, with you. I'd love to be able to connect with your entire family, understand what makes you tick, what your goals are around looking to purchase outside of Canada. Is this for retirement? Is this for cash flow? Is it for a bit of both? Or maybe you and one of your best friends find that splitting 6 months in Mexico every year would be a great way to travel, as well as to rent out those unused weeks. Once we understand exactly what's best for you and your family, we can execute that plan together.
That's great. Thanks, Mac.
Yeah,
You're
thanks,
welcome.
Mac.
Thank you.
I have a question here. We'll open it up for more questions if anybody has. Somebody said, I'm wondering about cartel interference with developments now and in the future. Yeah, not a problem down there, but the cartels can potentially be a problem anywhere in the Caribbean. It's not just Mexico. They're literally in every country, but in this particular area, I mean, I have a ton of developer connections down there. I have friends that have lived there as single people with families, with everything for, at least 4 years, and nobody has ever had a problem. And statistically, the crime rates down there are actually 40% less than Toronto's. So it's the safest place in Mexico. They're very tourist and foreign friendly. I've never personally had a problem there either. I posted a video on our stories today of an American lady who's lived there for 38 years and never had one issue. So I know that there's always some sort of rumors and stuff floating around in Canada, but the reality is it's one of the top Canadian tourist destinations and has been for quite a long time. And Canadians have been purchasing there for like 30, 40 years, and they continue to do so and have not had any issues. As I mentioned, in that particular region, 70 to 80% of the buyers are American and Canadian.
Nice.
Yeah, he said, is that a threat with everything they want to develop, mall, racetrack, da, da, da? No, not at all. Because it's only there's definitely going to be enough rentals going around with all the stuff they have there going year round, and the weather there is great year round. It's not like Costa Rica where you only have like 2 or 3 months of good season. Not even, I think it's 1 or 2 months, and then you either have drought or rain. There, it's just like hot and sun, and their peak season is basically end of October all the way to May. And then they still have stuff throughout the year, lots of golf tournaments, art festivals, business conferences, music festivals, you name it. So I don't personally think it would be a problem. If I did, I would not be buying there. The crime rates are actually higher in Bahamas and Jamaica and some of these other Caribbean countries like Dominican. And I'm really not worried about it at all. That's the long-winded answer. How many units are left? So because we got first dibs at this, because the developer is a friend of mine, we've sold unit 306. Other units have not sold yet because it hasn't opened to the public, but it will be in the next 1 to 2 weeks. They're already doing the coming soon advertising. And at that point, starting price will move from 130 to 144 plus the furniture package. So you can add an additional 13,000 onto that. We've sold 3 shares in the garden suite with the plunge pool, and we've sold 2 shares in one of the 2 bedrooms, which go for around 39,000 American, if that's helpful for anybody. So yeah, the units will start to diminish. So if you want to get in now at the best possible price and get your first dib at the best units, now's the time. Any other questions?
I actually have a question.
Go for it.
What if we talked about what if you want out in the future, but what if you want to buy more shares? What's the process like?
Yeah, so we're going to have actually a platform in our technology where you can shop current shares that are available. And also, whenever somebody wants to exit, the other owners of the property get first dibs and first right of refusal to purchase that share if they'd like. And then if they don't want it, then essentially my company would get second right. And if at that point we can't come to a deal, they can sell it on the open market through a realtor or privately, however they'd like.
I also have a question. Thank you for that as well. As far as the 1/8, it's about 23,000 USD. Is that a one-time shot, or is there like a deposit structure where you have like you could pay down or pay towards that in a couple weeks or a couple months?
Yeah. So we have an extended deposit structure for both the shares and for the whole ownership. For the shares, it's essentially done in 20% increments every 90 days. Pretty sure that's what it works out to. And the whole ownership is on 15% increments every 90 to 180 days. I can always email the more detailed structure for everybody, but that just gives you like a ballpark. And then the final 20% or 15% if you do whole is due on closing.
Okay.
That's actually pretty good. That's good info.
For sure. Yeah. And that extended deposit structure is exclusive to us. So the exclusive incentives, particularly for us, are discounts on the price. We have friends and family pricing, furniture, fixtures, and equipment packages included, and the extended deposit structure.
I have a question for Mac. When you're making the purchase, do you have to go through the same process like we do here in Canada, as far as like having a certain amount of credit score, having certain debts paid off, things of that nature? Is that the same process?
Yeah, so the mortgage qualification process is not as stringent as going to the bank. I would say that it's more aligned with an alternative lender. So things around credit blemishes are acceptable. There's a more diverse ability to qualify as far as different income that we can use. So if you're self-employed, that's welcomed. If you are salaried, that's also welcomed. If you have maybe, non-conforming or different income, as well as how the down payment can be leveraged. You can pull it out of a home. It can be savings. So there's certainly a broad range of opportunities that we can explore. But the overall debt carry is something that's really, really important when you're looking to invest. We want to make sure that you're not over leveraged. So the amount of debt you have, things like car payments, that's definitely going to factor into your success. So if you're thinking about buying a car, I would say certainly wait until you buy this next property.
There's a good question. Anna said, if you put the money up front, does your credit even matter? So let's just say if you have like the 30K in your bank, I guess we don't need it, right? You don't need to get the mortgage, or is that
Yeah, if you're just gonna buy 1/8, then you're a full 100% owner of that share. So you don't really have to worry about any qualifications. But if you're thinking about buying the entire property and either being the sole owner or even a part owner with someone else, and you do require a mortgage,
Yeah,
your credit is something that's going to have to be reviewed, but it's not something that has a high barrier of threshold, like if you're walking into a curbside bank.
got
I
it.
hope that helps. Yeah.
And another one, what about contract work? For example, teachers who work that's not hired yet, are not hired
What about
yet.
controversial? I think, the second that you have some stability around your income, I think, just for your own benefit as well, is that it's not so much about having to be at a full-time job. It's just what is the capacity to pay? Does it make sense that you have the ability to make your mortgage payments? If you're thinking about purchasing the entire property, naturally there's going to be quite a bit of cash flow coming in, quite a bit of rental income. Let's say you use 2 weeks a year and you want to just be an investor outside of the country. We would factor that rental income into your ability to qualify, which means that your capacity would naturally float down. And remember, we're only talking about an $80,000 loan, $90,000 loan, right? So, it doesn't take a lot of income to qualify for the whole ownership.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
sure. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so
no,
the closing costs, as Ilana mentioned before, it's a little bit more than what you would expect purchasing locally, because the way that it works is that the legal process and the timeline to close is typically between 45 and 60 days. So the reason why the timeline to close, if you do become a whole owner and you do need a mortgage, is a bit longer, is because they actually has, as I mentioned before, the ability to set up a trust where the legal opportunity that's been presented in order to ensure your success to be able to take on a mortgage there allows the purchase to be held within a legal trust, and the setup of the trust and the legal documents that go along that is a bit more, little more heavy lifting than buying here in Canada. So the closing costs are a little bit higher, but it's all relative. We're talking 6 to 8% of 150,000, right? So very relative to what you would expect a normal cost here in Canada.
So you see the other question, the renting part, Airbnb, right?
If you were to purchase it, if you were to take the property on as 100% ownership, you could decide exactly how you tenanted it. If you're taking on a share, I believe Ilana mentioned that she will manage your share for you. But if you're the whole owner, you could treat it like any other investment property. You could Airbnb it. Verbo, I think, is the other one. You could
yeah.
stand on the sidewalk and hold up flyers. It's whatever you think is best.
Yeah, for home ownership, we will do the asset management as well, and we can still use our
There you go.
technology. It's just we have our calendar built in, and if you own a share, you'll only have access in the calendar to your weeks, and if you're a whole owner, you'll have access to all the weeks,
Even
and you
better.
just simply click on a week, and then you tell us what you want to do with it, rent it, use it, exchange it, and then we take care of everything else. We do all the marketing on all of the short-term rental platforms, find you the tenant, take care of all the cleaning, manage them while they're there, hook them up with excursions, the whole shebang. So
Love it. Even
Is
better.
it is it is it possible as well to rent out our weeks to friends and family if need be as well?
absolutely, you can just send them like like you just want to give it to them like they wouldn't pay for it kind of thing.
Well, maybe giving them on a discount. Nothing's free, right? But
Yeah, you can do all that through Airbnb. Like you can apply like custom discounts and things like that. So you can always just let us know and then we'll book it through there just so, you have some sort of audit trail and track record and then you can apply whatever fees you want at that time.
One more. It says, in addition to, okay, so can you still get qualified if you have no income but can show funds for the entire build?
You're thinking that you want to buy a piece of land and then build a home. So if you're thinking about building a property in Mexico, the way that it works is that there needs to be some collateral to attach the loan to, or to attach the funds needed in order to assist you building the property. So if you are using your own funds, then you're using your own funds. You can source a local builder, will assist you with that, and you'll just build it. But if you need some backing and you need some construction costs, there needs to be a way to essentially collateralize the money we're giving you. And because you're building a property, it's half built, there's no way for us to collateralize a property outside of Canada. So if you're building a property and buying land, you actually need to own a home in Canada. Let's say it's got $300,000 of equity in it. We would secure that equity to be able to advance you the cash, and then we would shift the debt onto the property once it's done.
No, it's just for the pre-construction, he means. So I'm guessing what it means like for like just the whole unit.
If you're buying the whole unit in cash, then absolutely we can just assist you purchase it in cash.
Okay.
I'm sure Elana would be able to walk you through that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have another question, I guess for Mac and Alana too. What would the minimum income be if you wanted to purchase, but you wanted to go with a loan?
Yeah, so for the shares, it's too risky to allow mortgages. So that's a cash only deal. It doesn't really
Cash
matter
only.
where you get the money. We don't care as long as you
Okay.
pay for it. That would be more of like for whole ownership if you did need some sort of lender, and like Mac can broaden on that. Mac.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I think maybe she was thinking if she does buy the whole property, what would the cash flow be with your property management if she was to go for 2 weeks a year and then rent out the whole rest of the year? Like what would those numbers look like?
Yeah, so it depends on the unit. I would have to literally sit down and go through the pro forma because the one I've done is basically
Yeah.
per share.
You said
Um,
770 a week before, right?
Yeah. So if you times that by 8, I guess that's technically what it would be. But if you have a mortgage, those numbers will be skewed because then you have to pay an interest rate. So because that's based
Right,
on
but what's the
cash.
cash flow? So let's just say she purchased the whole thing and she goes for 2 weeks a year and she rents out 48 weeks
Mhm.
at $770 a week, and that's after the expenses from your previous slide. That's $37,000 a year.
Yeah,
The
basically,
so what's that? 4 years it's paid back.
essentially, yeah.
3 years it's paid back.
Yeah. So the net just on the rental income would be around 15,200 plus property appreciation. And then
Mhm.
the rentals are looking to go up 16% year 2, 25% year 3, and all the way up to 40%
Yeah,
year 5. Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't forget about the property appreciation. That's
Yeah,
key.
exactly. And that's
Yeah.
American too, remember? So like I don't know what 15,000 uh, you know, American is in Canadian. I think it's somewhere around 20,000 Canadian right now.
And as far as say
Yeah.
you purchase 1/8, right? Who gets the allocation share of your 6 weeks, this person 6 weeks? How do you know who gets each 6? Is it like a seniority, whoever purchased it first?
Yeah, so we've developed a proprietary calendar that already gives each owner an equal share of peak weeks, non-peak weeks, and holidays. So essentially, whoever purchases first gets to select the package of weeks that they want. But I mean, all the packages are good because everybody gets a fair share of everything. So yeah, it's just basically a week package, and it's all based on our calendar that we've developed that's proprietary to us.
Can you swap weeks with other, partners in that unit?
Yeah, in the unit that you own, you can swap weeks between each other if you choose. Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
no problem. Yeah, we call ourselves the most innovative and flexible real estate investment solution prop tech out there. And that's like a mouthful and a half.
Okay.
Does anybody have
I have
any
no
other
more questions.
questions?
I think that's everything.
That's it. I guess what we could go forward now is if anybody is kind of interested in speaking with ourselves or Elana and Mac, we'll shoot out another email, I guess, and then we could go from there.
Yeah, with our contact information, you reach out, and then yeah, like Bother mentioned, we could take it from there.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody, for joining.
And Mac, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Big
This
This was
help.
great.
Good one.
Pleasure.
you.
And if anyone's asked any questions,
Nada.
don't hesitate to contact us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
No
Thank
worries. I'll stop the recording now.